Good morning, welcome back ladies, gents and Pikachus to another analysis and breakdown of the Quran of the Muslims. Yes, we are back breaking this thing down verse by verse into factual, logical English statements so that we can understand who or what is Allah, what does he intend and what is his purpose, and more importantly, what does this mean for you and I and the rest of the non-believer world in our lives today. So, before I start, as I do every day, I'm going to say to you, if you have any doubts as to my factual accuracy, or you wish to argue any of the things I'm about to tell you or have previously said, please buy and read one of these. You can find them in any good bookshop or off Amazon, which is where I got mine. And once you have done that, you will realise that everything I'm going to tell you now and have told you in the past is 100% true to what's written in here in the words of Allah and what Muslims believe today. So if you've been keeping up with the series and you saw the last one, you'll remember that we went through the particular sinful, filthy things that is required actually from Muslims by Allah, including their affairs with little boys and how they should treat their women, or rather how they should mistreat their women, and that brings us on to our episode today. So let's get started. 158. You'll love this. Your women are as plant pots, made to receive your seed. So treat your plant pots as you like, but just remember, do some good acts beforehand and fear only Allah. Know that you are to meet him in the hereafter, so do most good for the other Muslims. Give your tidings to the true believers. So, we get off to a rather shaky start, I feel, as we are already within the first two sentences referring to women as plant pots for receiving our seed. This is how Allah sees women in the eyes of Islam. Your women are as plant pots made to receive your seed. Quote. So treat your plant pots as you like. He doesn't even say treat them well. He just says, oh, treat them however you like. You know, do whatever you like to these flipping plant pot things. They're only there to plant your seed in. That is what they are made for. Allah made them as plant pots for you to come into. So that your seed can grow into more men Muslims who are actually useful for killing Jews. Because obviously women aren't very good at killing Jews, are they? So we don't really care about them. They're plant pots for growing more Jew killer Muslim men. So treat them however you like. But just remember, do some good acts at least. Don't just be horrible to them all the time. At least once in a while, get them a flipping chocolate or something. And after you do that, fear Allah. Now, breaking that down, I think it's pretty clear what Allah is saying here with the plant pots thing. He is saying women are basically useless apart from making more men. And the reason I think, although it's not described, that men are prioritised over women is because this book is all about the end times genocidal prophecy. Women can't go and kill all the men, they're too flipping useless in the words of Allah. And in the Quran of the Muslims, the men do all the Jew and Christian head chopping, so we need more of them. And in order to have more than them, we got to put up with these flipping plant pot women. But it's okay, we can put our seed in there and they will grow it for us. And that is why Allah has made our bounty of women for us. That's what this means. And then afterwards he goes, well, you know, treat them however you like. We don't care what you do to these women is what he's saying. But he's saying, do some good acts at least. Otherwise they might not grow the seed into the man properly. And also fear Allah. So what he's saying there is, treat the women however you want. But remember, Allah expects that you're going to have lots of baby men to go and kill the Jews with. So fear Allah. Don't just shag your women for the purpose of being married and pleasure and actually having sex with your wife in a loving relationship. No. Allah expects you're going to fear him, and what that means is make lots of babies, O Muslims. He then goes on to say, know that you are to meet him in the hereafter. That means you're going to meet Allah after you die, and he's going to say to you, why did you enjoy sex, O Muslim, but not give me enough baby Muslims to go and kill the Jews with? Huh? What do you think you're doing? Know that you are to meet him in the hereafter, so do most good for other Muslims. Give your tidings to true believers. And so we round out this verse after saying women are basically there for us to grow baby men in so that we can have a bigger army to kill the Jews with. He ends on that saying, do most good for other Muslims, which means Muslim men. So what he's saying there is, although your woman is there to grow your sons in her womb, don't be preoccupied with being nice to your wife or spending time with your wife. No, fuck that. Spend time with other Muslim men. Do good for other Muslim men. Give your tidings to true believers, because the women aren't true believers. They're just doing it because we tell them to. They're too dumb. They're too stupid to do it. So they're only doing it because we're telling them. That is what this means. Once again, far be it from me, Allah, to tell you how to write in your holy book in order to motivate people as best you can. But being as 50% of your crew are women... 50% of your crew are human plant pots, maybe you would ixnay on the not spending too much time with your women and forsaking them for the other Muslim men. You might have said, give them a Christmas card or something. You know, not a Christmas card, a Valentine, not a Valentine. What do these guys do that's fun? You can't give them anything. Look, just spend time, give them a cuddle, okay? You might well have said, that's Allah, in your holy book, the Quran of the Muslims. But no, instead you are just ordering your men to impregnate your women, and the women are there to grow the babies. That is what they do. That is what they are for. That is what this is saying. I'll carry on. 159. Don't use Allah's name as an excuse to duck out of your commanded duties against the rightful acts of the Quran for granting mercy and gathering peace in the end times, for Allah knoweth and heareth all that you do. So, I love these. So breaking that down, once we've told our women what their place in life is, i.e. you are there to clean my home and have my babies, so occasionally I'm going to do good for you now and then because Allah has told me to. But he has also told me that after I've done that, tick off the list, woman happy, I can go back out and spend the rest of my week with Muslim men who are true believers. You know, they're worth spending time with in the words of Allah, not the fucking plant pots. So he follows that by saying, but don't use Allah's name as an excuse to duck out of your commanded duties, which is having lots of babies. So what Allah is saying here, O Muslim, is get your wife pregnant as much as you possibly can to grow more Muslim men to send in war against the Jews, but just occasionally be nice to them and make sure you're spending most of your time with the other Muslim men, because that's the important bit. Against rightful acts from the Quran, for granting mercy, as we know, mercy in the words of Allah is cutting the heads off the non-believers and saving them from that horrible, sinful, miserable life of not being a Muslim. Just mercy them. It's better than leaving them alive in sin. It's much better to just kill them, as we read in a previous verse. So what Allah is saying here is, when you're getting your wife pregnant, and it's really annoying that you have to keep getting her pregnant despite the fact that she's just some useless plant pot womb for growing your babies. Even though that's going to piss you off, O Muslims, don't be taking my name in vain and saying, for Allah's sake. No, you get on with the baby making, you get on with the factory baby, then you say something nice, give her a little pat on the head afterwards, and then you go off and spend time with your Muslims. And the reason you are spending time with your Muslims is to prepare you for granting the mercy against the Jews and Christians, and in doing so, gathering peace in the end times. So, mercy means cutting heads. Peace is what happens when all the non-believers are dead. And the whole point of this, as we have just been told, end times means Allah's end times genocidal prophecy, which is only going to happen when you, O Muslim, get off your lazy behinds and stop spending time with your wife, apart from when you're impregnating her, and go and kill the Jews, Christians, apostates, atheists, and pagans. Like I commanded you, remember? In the other million pages we've gone through, pretty much every one of them is like kill Jews, do this and that, then kill Jews, hate the Christians, kill the Jews, then kill the Christians, come home, pray, give money to the mosque, and then kill the Jews. That is what this book is about. Then he ends out that verse by saying, for Allah knoweth and heareth all the things ye do. So he's just making sure you know, O Muslims, impregnate wife, spend time in the mosque with Muslim men, go out and kill Jews, come back, make sure your babies are growing, train them how to use swords, give money to the mosque, spend time with Muslim men, go out and kill Jews. This is your life. For Allah knoweth and seeth and heareth all the things you do. So don't be saying, for Allah's sake, I hate this life, because he'll know. And don't be ducking out of your commanded duties, i.e. baby factory, or Allah will know, and he will be displeased. And you won't be righteous, and off with your head you're dead if you do it too much. But it's mostly going to be on the woman to make this baby creation thing happen. So just keep giving her warnings when she's not doing it, and telling her and guiding her in your ways, as we saw in the last episode. That's what this means. 169. Allah does not mind your thoughtlessness, nor breaking your oaths to others, so long as your main intentions are my commands, O Muslim, for I know all, and I am oft forgiving to those who believe my worship. So, we're flying through it today, aren't we? 10 minutes in, so I think I know what Allah is getting at here. I think you probably know what Allah is getting at here, because it's not particularly subtle. Allah does not mind of your thoughtlessness, nor breaking your oaths to others. So what Allah is saying is, Muslims, as long as you keep the baby factory going and you're having lots of sons, and as long as after you have those sons you're not hanging around to give your wife a cuddle and a chat, you're out with the other Muslim men planning how you're going to get the end times genocide done, the end times genocidal prophecy finished where you kill all the Jews, Christians, pagans, non-believers and atheists. As long as your intention is that, we don't care that you're thoughtless and horrible to your wife and pretty much everyone else. In fact, we don't even care if you break your oaths to others, despite the fact that earlier in the book Allah said, don't break your oaths to others, keep all your bargains and deals. Now he's saying, actually no, you can forget your bargains and deals. You can even be a little shit horrible to your wife and you could just be a thoughtless git, as long as you are creating soldiers to kill the Jews for the end times genocidal prophecy. That is your goal and your quest. And if you don't like it and you question it, or you are lazy and you don't do it, you're not worshipping me enough. So you won't see the end times. You'll be in a bed of fire burning with those horrible evil Christians and Satan Jews. End of passage. And then we get to the last verse of our reading, 161. Muslims who promise to abstain from women for a quart of months, that means 4. Women who promise to abstain from women for a quart of 4 months, if they falter, then Allah will forgive them because he's oft forgiving. But in his mercy and grace, unless they intend to divorce her, Allah will see and know what they do. He expects you to see your duties for the sake of Allah. End verse. So, a juicy ending to a rather juicy couple of verses. So, Muslims who promise to abstain from women for a quarter of months, because remember, at times, when they're finished murdering and raping and pillaging and they come home and do their Ramadan, they have to do a penance or a hardship, as described earlier, to get rid of their sins. So if the one they choose to do is 4 months of not sleeping with your wife, Allah won't mind if you actually sneak into the bedroom and shag her once in a while. As long as you're making babies, then it doesn't count for your penance, because he is graceful and merciful and he will forgive you. So it's fine, no harm, no foul. Even though you're supposed to be abstaining, it doesn't count as long as it's your wife for creating babies. So the between the lines thing is, anytime you shag your wife during abstinence and say she's pregnant afterwards, or you're trying to get her pregnant, it's fine. So the abstinence is kind of a moot point. But anyway, he goes on to say, unless you intend to divorce her, no, you can't not sleep with her if you intend to divorce her. If you intend to divorce her, you have to sleep with her more. It's what it says. Read it if you don't believe me. That is what Allah says. If you intend to divorce your wife, you have to mega sleep with her and not go for the abstinence route, even though you're probably falling out with her, probably, even though it's not written, to try and convince her along to stay with you or get the most baby production you can before she leaves. And then he ends the verse with, he expects you to see your duties for the sake of Allah. Allah will see and know all you do. End verse, end of reading. So, a short and sweet 5 verses we went through today. Let's summarise and break down what we have done so far. So, we start off describing women as plant pots solely created to receive the seed of the Muslim man, which I think shows a certain attitude towards women, a lack of value that we are putting on our women. They're not there for any other reason, not like in Christianity or Judaism, where God creates Adam and Eve to be equals and to cleave together in an equal one relationship. That is not how Allah feels about women. Allah feels about women like they are sacks of fertilizers to plough your seeds into and then leave to gestate, while you go off and figure out how you're going to kill more Jews. So while you're doing that, do some good acts now and again, but really don't care about that as long as you're fulfilling Allah's end times genocidal prophecy and his commands, and you're fixing the lives of your other Muslims so you can all band together and loyally kill the Jews for Allah, then it's all fine. As long as you do that, you're a good Muslim and you'll be giving your tidings to true believers, which is men, and ignoring your wife and letting her grow the seed of yours. Because that's what she's invented for, remember? Then we go on to the excuses. Don't use Allah's name as an excuse not to impregnate your wife consistently and then ignore her and go out killing Jews. For granting mercy and gathering peace for the end times genocidal prophecy is your main life goal. So that's the reason you are created, and it's against the rightful acts of the Quran if you do not do this. So just for clarity's sake, granting mercy according to Allah in his last verses means separating bodies from heads when it's non-believers, or pagans, Christians and Jews, and killing them. And the reason you're doing this is to gather the peace of Islam. So the religion of peace can't be at peace until you've fucking murdered everybody else on the planet who's not a Muslim. And that is why, O Muslim, get back to the worship, get back to the Jew killing, manufacture more babies with your plant pots, and then go out and do Allah's commands. If you don't do it, guess what? You're not worshipping enough. So get off your fucking tush and worship Allah. That is what this means. And then he finishes up by saying Allah doesn't mind if you're thoughtless to your wife and horrible to her, and even if you break your oaths to others, i.e. sorry wife, I won't cheat on you again, that is meaningless and doesn't actually matter at all. You can break that and Allah will forgive you, so long as your main intentions are my commands, Allah says in the book, because I know all and I'm oft forgiving. So what he is saying there, ladies, gents and Pikachus, Allah is saying, oh Muslims, you can basically break any rules you want, treat your wife like shit, sleep with other people, swear, drink alcohol and gamble, I don't even care, so long as you are following my commands and worshipping me enough, and then I will be oft forgiving. But don't forget, I'm only forgiving you because you are supposed to be preparing the end times genocidal prophecy for me and killing the fucking Jews, Christians, pagans, atheists and everybody else so that we can be at peace. Because remember, these self-destructive evil Satan Jews and these hypocritical rabble shepherd Christians and their frenzy atheists, they're the ones causing the holy war, not me. It's not me commanding you to go and kill them and giving you all these reasons why that aren't true and telling you to lie and be the accuser of the Jews so that everyone else hates them and sides with you against them. That isn't the cause of the holy war at all. Remember, we would have been one nation, all Muslims. But the evil Jews and Christians suddenly sprited into being, even though I claimed that everyone was a one nation. So I actually created them in my secret plan and then mind controlled them to do that. But anyway, do the end times genocidal prophecy, kill everyone so we can have peace, and then I will either be resurrected or drop down from the heaven with a conga line of angels, whichever one I decide, because I've written both. So I get the choice to do one and not the other, but then actually my perfect plan's got a mistake in it. So as long as I don't do that, I suppose that mistake doesn't count. And then we end the verse reading with, Muslims who promise to abstain from their women for 4 months, if they falter, Allah will forgive them because he's merciful and graceful. Unless they intend to divorce her. If you intend to divorce your wife, then you have to plough those plant pots with your seed to make sure the babies come out before she leaves. And if you don't do it, you are not fulfilling your duties for the sake of Allah, which means you are sinful and not righteous and evil, and you will burn in the fires, and you will not be forgiven, and Allah will not love you. Okay, Muslims? So the general idea you get is make babies for war, kill Jews for Allah, give money to mosque, impregnate wife for babies to kill Jews with, and as long as you're doing those, everything else doesn't matter. You can gamble, you can drink, you can cheat, you can lie, you can do anything you want, as long as your command is filled, and that command is killing the Jews and Christians for the genocidal end time prophecy and bringing the religion of peace, the long fabled peace that it has promised you. So off you fucking trot, O Muslim. And that is the end of this video. So I feel like that pretty much summarises itself. We don't really need to do a lot more work on that. So I'm going to end it there and say I hope you enjoyed that video. Later on we're going to go through more iniquitous, sinful behaviours that are actually very righteous in the words of Allah. So look forward to that, 4:15 in this afternoon. So until then, I'm going to bid you good day, God bless, and say I'm going to see you in the next one. Bye now. And if you'd like to hear the rest of Allah's commandments concerning women after divorce, then tune back in and see me back here at 4:15 this evening. Until then, have a good day, God bless, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. Bye 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 bye.